You know when you see a math problem that's just packed with fractions, ratios, and percentages, and you feel that little bit of panic? Well, today, we're going to tackle one just like that. We're going to treat it like a mystery, because all the clues are right there. We just have to know how to read them.
Oh, and here's the twist. This is from a non-calculator exam. So what does that mean? It means we can't just punch in the numbers and hope for the best. Nope, we need a solid method, which is great actually, because it forces us to really understand the logic behind every single step. This is all about smart problem solving, not just finding an answer.
So this is our case. We've got jars, different sizes of them. We've got a fraction telling us how many are empty, and then we've got two different ratios tying them together. It looks like a classic multi-step puzzle, right? But don't worry. We're going to approach this like detectives, tackling it one clue at a time. So here's our game plan. First, we'll open up the case file to get the facts straight. Then we'll find our first clue by figuring out the empty jars. After that, we'll get to the tricky part, untangling the ratios. Then we identify the target. And finally, we close the case. By the end, you'll have a whole method for solving mysteries just like this one. All right, every good investigation starts by gathering the facts. So what exactly are we dealing with here? Let's lay out all the information, all the clues the problem gives us.
Let's break down the evidence. We start with a grand total of 400 jars. We're told that exactly 3/8 of them are empty. Then we get two separate ratios for these empty jars. And the final goal, and this is really important, is to find the percentage of the total 400 jars that are both empty and small. We got to remember that last part.
Okay, first things first, let's get a real solid number to work with. Before we can do anything with small, medium, or large jars, we need to know how many jars are actually empty. This is our first clue. So how do we find 3/8 of 400 without a calculator? Well, the easiest way is to find 1/8 first. We just divide 400 by 8. That's 50. Simple enough. Now that we know 1/8 is 50, to get 3/8, we just multiply by 3. And 50 times 3 gets us 150. And there it is. Our first key piece of evidence is officially in the bag. There are exactly 150 empty jars. This number right here is the foundation for everything that's coming next, so let's keep it safe. Okay, now for what is probably the trickiest part of the entire case. We have two separate clues, two different ratios about these 150 empty jars. Our mission now is to find the link between them and merge them into one single powerful piece of evidence. So on one hand, clue #1 tells us the ratio of small to medium jars is 3:4. But on the other hand, clue #2 says the ratio of medium to large is 1:2. You see the problem here? We're talking about the same medium jars, but the numbers in the ratio are totally different. We can't work with that. So how do we crack this? What's the common thread? It's the medium jars. They're the link. They appear in both ratios, and they are absolutely the key to tying all of this together into one clean ratio of small to medium to large. The trick here is to make the number for medium the same in both ratios. In the first one, it's a 4. In the second, it's a 1. So how do we make them match? Well, we can just multiply that entire second ratio by 4. So 1:2 becomes 4:8. See? We haven't changed the relationship at all, just the numbers we're using to describe it. And just like that, we can combine them. Since the medium value is now 4 in both, we can create a single unified ratio. Small to medium to large is now 3:4:8. This, right here, is the breakthrough we were looking for. So now we have our shiny new unified ratio, and we know there are 150 empty jars in total. With these two clues, we can finally identify our main target, the exact number of small empty jars. Let's do it. Here's how we pin it down. First, we add up all the parts in our new ratio, 3 plus 4 plus 8. That gives us 15 total parts. Now, these 15 parts represent all 150 of our empty jars. So, to find out what one single part is worth, we just divide 150 by 15, which is 10. So each part of our ratio is worth 10 jars. And since the small jars make up 3 parts, we just multiply 3 by 10. And boom, there it is. We found our target. There are exactly 30 empty small jars. We are so close now. This is the last key number we need for our final calculation. We've done all the heavy lifting, all the detective work. We have our key number, 30 empty small jars. But remember the original mission?
The question asked for a percentage of the grand total of jars. This is the final step to closing the case.
Let's walk through this final step nice and slow. We set up our fraction. We have 30 empty small jars out of a total of 400 jars. That's 30 over 400. To make life easier, let's simplify that. We can just divide the top and bottom by 10, which gives us 3 over 40. Now, to turn any fraction into a percentage, you just multiply it by 100. So 3 over 40 times 100. That's 300 divided by 40, which is the same thing as 30 divided by 4, which gives us 7.5.
And that's it. That's our answer, 7.5%. Case closed. You see, by breaking it down piece by piece, a problem that looked really intimidating becomes just a series of simple, logical steps.
So we found the answer, which is awesome. But the most valuable thing we've uncovered here isn't the number 7.5. It's the method, the process we use to get there. This is your takeaway, your own personal problem-solving handbook.
This strategy works for so many complex problems and not just in math. First, you read carefully and find all the clues. Then, you break that big, scary problem into smaller, winnable steps. Always look for the link that connects different bits of information. And finally, and this is a big one, always go back and make sure you've answered the exact question that was asked. We didn't stop at 30 small jars. We went all the way to find the percentage of the total.
So, the next time you're staring down a daunting problem, just remember the jar mystery. You have the tools and you have the method to break it down. Find those crucial connections and solve it step by step. The only question is, what mystery are you going to solve next?